Hi, everyone. It's Andrew. Hope you're all doing well. This is the 5th Tuesday of the month of March, and we're going to take a little break this week. We've got some travel. We've got some personal things coming up. So instead of a new episode, we're going to give you another glimpse into the Debate This premium feed. You hear us talk about the premium feed a lot. Previously, we were doing our D&D show, The Office Drones, and then we were doing our DCOM Disney Channel original movie breakout. So what we're doing now is kind of the most fun watch-along that we've done in a while. We've been doing a Lord of the Rings watch-along, and as of today's episode release, we've actually gone through already the entire trilogy and then some, which we'll get to later. But we wanted to give everyone on the free feed a sneak preview of what we're doing over in the premium feed. So please enjoy this preview of our new Lord of the Rings podcast as we talk about the first of the trilogy, The Fellowship of the Ring. Enjoy! Much that once was is lost, and for none now live who remember it. It began with the forging of the great Patreon. 3 years were given to the Real Play D&D podcast, wisest and fairest of all the kinds of white dude podcasts. 4 episodes were given to the pilots that would never be. And 2 years were given to the original movies of the Disney Channel, who above all else desire nostalgia. For within these podcasts was bound the strength and the will to maintain the Debate This premium feed. But they were all of them deceived, for another podcast was made. Deep in the land of Mordor, in the fires of Mount Doom, the Dark Lords of Debate This forged a master podcast, and into this podcast they poured their cruelty, their malice, and their recently learning that Matt had never seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies. This is Fellowship This, aka one does not simply record a Lord of the Rings watch-along podcast, there and pod again. Hello and welcome to Fellowship This, aka one does not simply record a Lord of the Rings podcast, there and pod again. Hi, everybody. We did it. It's our new premium episode, our premium show. We're done with the Disney Channel original movies, and we're moving on. How you guys feeling?
Better now that I know I don't have a worse DCOM to watch later.
Yeah, it's kind of refreshing, TBH.
Yeah, marked safe from not having to think about this land is your land.
You know what's great about at least the Lord of the Rings trilogy is each one gets better.
I know.
That's what I keep hearing, and I'm excited about that.
It's like I feel like we're on. Have you guys ever listened to? We were just talking about the Paul Blart cast right before we started recording, but have you guys listened to The Worst Idea of All Time? Tim and Guy's show. Kyle and Todd, have you ever heard it?
I've not, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about, except I forget like what the thing they watch is.
They've done a bunch, but the original was they watched Grown Ups 2 like 20 times or something.
Yes.
That's right.
I think it was every day for a year.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Every day for a year.
Jesus.
And I feel like we, on a much smaller scale, are like at the end of a season of one of their shows where we're like, man, I'm glad we never have to do that. Anything else is refreshing.
Yep.
Speaking of that, so the doors to the Disney Vault have formally, officially, and permanently closed. Who knows if they'll ever open again. But my friends, as they say, when God closes a door, another one opens. And after speaking the Elvish word for friend, we're entering a new and unexpected journey to a far-off land of fantasy where hope springs eternal, and even the most unlikely of us can all become heroes. I am, of course, talking about the halcyon days of 2001.
I remember 2001.
Yeah.
There and back again.
Hey, you said the name of the
Right?
thing.
Yeah.
That's it. You did it.
Well, I know we'll talk about like silly bits, but the part where Gandalf says melon is such like, it was such a memed moment for a while that when they're like, oh, speak friend and enter, I'm like, oh, it's coming.
Yeah. There's so many moments like that in this movie. I think this movie in particular has the most of those, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
On December 19, 2001, 24 whole ass years ago,
Jeez.
Peter Jackson released part 1 of his epic fantasy tour de force, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And for 24 whole ass years, someone's recorded a podcast to talk about it. So join us, dear listeners of the Debate This Patreon feed, as we embark on a perilous journey to count ourselves among the great kings of men who have a podcast about the movie adaptations of Lord of the Rings.
What it is there always has to be a Lord of the Rings podcast actively recording, and it's our turn to carry the mantle.
That's right. That's right.
And until we finish and release it back into the wild for the next podcast group to do.
I think it's really something special. This movie obviously came out almost a quarter of a century ago. I think it's really special. This movie was so good that then they wrote books about it. The books they wrote after these movies came out, I think people
pretty interesting stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's just incredible that the movie inspired them.
It is kind of wild to think that like one of the first podcasts was probably about Lord of the Rings. And so
easily,
it is conceivable that like a small hobbit carrying a ring across a fantasy land, there must always be podcasters talking about Lord of the Rings.
You think of it this way, right? Podcasts were first originally assigned to like iPods, right? Yeah. And you could download podcasts in like 2005. Which would have been right smack in the time when like this would have been a relevant topic. So I think that is 100% possible. So, okay. So we're going to dive in a lot. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. It's a 4-hour fucking movie because of course we all watched the extended edition.
This movie's so long.
No, the last 25 minutes are credits.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair.
That's also true.
Yeah.
But I thought a good place to start was each one share your first time watching this movie compared to your most recent, which was this watch. And I'd love to hear it. Let's start with Matt, because obviously Matt is a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah, so this is my very first time ever watching Lord of the Rings. I have never read the books.
You went in cold.
I am about as cold as you can go into Lord of the Rings after being a nerd for 30 years.
Sure.
Lord of the Rings having existed since the 40s, like you're gonna pick some stuff up, but about as cold as one can.
Someone who plays D&D, someone who's played video games, and someone who is on the internet, but still,
like you've probably caught a lot of the strays from the movie and then just like put the storyline with the faces and the scenes together.
Well, he's played Magic the Gathering. That's
sure.
Yeah, that's true. I have to be so real with you. Most of what I knew about Lord of the Rings going in, I learned from the Magic the Gathering set. Like 100%.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I never saw any bits of the movies. It was never like, oh, I watched part of this on FX or whatever.
TNT, but yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Characters aren't welcome in this one.
This was a TNT. This was a TNT one, not an FX movie. Just
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And
Kyle,
when you go so long without seeing a thing that everyone else has seen, I don't want to speak for everybody, but at least myself personally, there's a little bit of like fear that builds up of like, what if it doesn't live up to the hype that everyone's created? Not that there was a single part of me that expected the Lord of the Rings to be bad.
Yeah, sure.
But like,
it's still a 24-year-old movie.
It's a 24-year-old movie. I've never seen it. And the reason that I've never seen it is because when it was really popular, it wasn't something that I was interested in. And I kind of wrote it off as something that wasn't for me. And I got to say, I get it. You know, this movie fucking bangs. This is a good ass movie.
It's good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And we're going to talk. I mean, I read through our show notes and like what everybody's discussion topics is there. Every single bullet point I was like, and that thing, and also that thing. I had a really, really pleasant time consuming this. I will say I had to split it up into 2 viewings because I cannot physically do one thing for 4 hours. I am incapable. And even like in the, you know, I like watched part of it in the morning and part of it in the afternoon. And in the 4 hours, in the Lord of the Rings movie amount of time that I stuck in the middle of me watching Lord of the Rings, I was thinking about like, wow, I really like this. I see where this is going. I enjoy this. And it was just so refreshing for it to live up to everything I've ever heard. Because like I've met dozens of people who would say that the Lord of the Rings movies are their favorite movies, or the Lord of the Rings books are their favorite books, or like so much of the shit that I have consumed centers back to Lord of the Rings. And again, there wasn't a single part of me that expected it to be bad, but I was really afraid that it just wasn't going to do for me what it does seemingly for everybody else. And fuck me, man, that movie's awesome. I had a great time. Very few complaints.
Yeah, holds up.
Yeah. The thing that I would add, so before I give my perspective, I do love that Andrew explained that Matt hasn't watched Lord of the Rings the same way that you have to explain your uncle is bringing a younger girlfriend to Christmas. But he was like, and here's Matt who has a bit of a different situation.
Oh shit, that's really good.
Remember, we still love him.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
He's going through some stuff. It's just going to be different this year. Yeah, I think this might be the first time I've watched the whole thing in one sitting all the way through. I've definitely seen it before. I've seen it where characters aren't welcome in like snippets when it gets on a repeat.
Yeah.
But this might be the first time I've sat down and watched the whole thing, like beginning to end, which my partner walked in when I was like halfway done. And it led to like some fun moments. Because again, I think she's probably the same way. She's seen it, but she's not seen it recently. Yeah. And she asked a clarifying question at one point, and not to get into the why don't the Eagles drop the ring into the volcano bit, because we'll get there. But there is the point where like Frodo was told the exposition of like, you're the ring bearer. You got to do it, bud.
Yeah.
And it was a fun moment because throughout the last 25 years, I've never given deep thought to why it's Frodo, just that's the plot device. And then I actually paid attention to like what Gandalf said to him when he was like, he pulled him real close and he's like, you gotta take it or the power will corrupt me and I'll blow up the world. It's gotta be you.
He physically literally has to, there's nobody else that can do it.
Yeah. And and then like the short version of that is like, something like you've got a big heart, you're gonna see it through, all that stuff. Aside from that, it's like you're just a little poo-poo baby.
You're just a guy.
If the ring corrupts you, you're just a little silly lad.
Yeah.
So my wife, like Matt, has not seen these movies. I think she said she's started them once, and like just the density of exposition and the names at the time.
And there's so much exposition at the beginning.
There's a lot.
There's so much exposition.
Was just too much for her.
Yeah.
So like every time it would like slow back down and get a little exposition heavy, I would just kind of like break it down into like non-Tolkien English for her.
Yeah.
And like using the actors' names instead of like Frodo Baggins, nephew of Bilbo Baggins, and just watching her eyes glaze over. And at one point, she asked, like, so why does it have to be Frodo? It's like because he's so small. That's
he's a little guy.
If the ring corrupts everybody, and if he gets corrupted, like he's just a little guy, and like he can't do that much. Whereas like everyone else it would be a real problem.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'll add real quick is that I had a similar experience with my wife when she walked in, because it was right after the Saruman Gandalf fight, which I want to talk about later because it's so funny.
So good.
Oh my God.
That at one point Shannon's like, well, why is this happening? I'm like, oh, well, that's Saruman, and he's been corrupted by Sauron, and so he's attacking
the exact
Gandalf.
same conversation was had in our house too at that moment.
And she was like, yeah, but like, why is any of that happening? And I was like, oh, I realized that I'm deep into it right now, and how do I explain to you that they've pondered the orb and that the orb is the eye and like
so the orb. Let me explain the orb of Palantir first.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Palantir in the year 2025.
Hell yeah, brother.
Do?
Kyle, do you want to share your
So I did see Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring like in theaters.
Oh, cool.
Damn.
Back in 2001, pretty cold. Like
Same.
I knew of it. And that's more or less it.
Yeah.
And like, I absolutely did not absorb all of that movie, but I got little guy has to go take and destroy the ring.
Yeah.
Just little guy.
And the ring makes him
enough.
invisible, and it's bad, and that's cool.
It's kind of the perfect, like, it's what Marvel movies are now, where like the story is simple enough that like if you don't know what the names, you don't know, it's like, oh, Elijah Wood's got to go take the, like, you get it. Like you can get 70% of what's happening. You don't really have to know all of the names. You don't have to know that Galadriel is one of the 3 elven queen that lives in Lothlorien. Like, you don't have to know that. That shit is awesome, and you should know that, but you don't have to know it.
Yes. And then I did get and watch at least this and Two Towers extended edition on DVD when they came out. I can't remember if I got no, I got all 3. I got all 3 extended editions on DVD. They're at my parents in Ohio, I think, but I do have them. And again, I like watched them once because I was 11 when this one came out, and
and the extended editions are 4 hours long.
And the extended editions are 4 hours long, and I had the attention span of an 11-year-old kid with ADHD. A very solid memory I have, though, of after I watched the Fellowship of the Ring extended edition the first time, I came out of that basement viewing experience kind of like locked into an English accent for the rest of the day.
Awesome.
I was that annoying kid.
Hell yeah.
So I very much enjoyed these when they came out. I also like got a very base level understanding of what was going on. And I've since like watched them again and picked up more. And this viewing, I was just like primed to get like all of it. And I was so in. These movies are so good. Like I was tracking all the exposition stuff, like the dense names and expositions. I was in. Probably gonna plant my flag now. These are probably the best like 3 movies of all time. Like collected as a trilogy. They're it's certainly not a pinnacle we're ever gonna reach again in movies.
I just recently rewatched A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and I think I'm going to have the same decision to make. Is this a generally better trilogy than the original Star Wars trilogy? And it might be. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
And then what was your viewing experience like recently? Was it just by yourself?
I watched with my wife. We watched it like we watch TV every night. Yeah. Just like she was doing something else. I was
something on the big screen, something on the little screen.
Big screen, little screen. I was big screen, little screening it too, but I was definitely
you're on IMDb. You're like, what are they doing?
Yeah. I was definitely like,
you're locked in.
I was locked in. There were certainly moments too where I like put what I was doing down and like leaned into the TV to watch closer. Like knew it was coming. When the big story moments were coming up, I like kind of like brought my wife out of her like cloud. Just like, all right, something big's coming.
Sure.
Here's where we're at in the story.
Yeah, come back.
Yeah, like and brought her into it, and yeah, it was a good time. I also told her, like, maybe if we watch the other two together, I'll watch the theatrical cut with you, so you don't have to endure like 2 extra hours of Tolkien English.
Yeah.
You definitely have to start. It's definitely worth starting with the theatrical release. Like you'll get plenty.
Yeah.
I think my experience echoes Kyle's. I also saw this in theaters with my dad when it came out. Knew nothing about it. I was 11, 12, or I guess I would have been 13, I guess, or almost 13. And I mean, I liked it, but again, like, cool. I was into it. And then I got it on DVD. This was the first DVD I ever had, and I watched the hell out of that DVD. Like, I know the 5-minute crawl in the menu screen like the back of my hand, baby.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a moment I was watching it for the 30th time, and they're coming in down the river Anduin, and like the 2 big statues go by, and I remember I have a visceral memory of being like, I'm going to make this my personality. And like it's like summer of 2002, right?
Yeah,
Like this is my life now.
This is who I am now.
And then 2 months later, I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time.
And then you found. I was going to say. And then you found anime.
Yeah. So most recently, I watched this with my wife, who, well, she was on the couch. She was there, who has not seen any of these at all. And I got to experience one of the truly, truly common, consistent male fantasies, which is pausing the Lord of the Rings to then explain to your wife,
oh boy,
why this scene in the Lord of the Rings is important. And I don't know that there's a higher high than that.
No.
It's like, it is the nerdy chaotic good of mansplaining.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to my partner who watched most of this with me, who had that experience because she grew up with parents who were obsessed with the Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Sure.
My partner's parents are younger, and so her dad is like a Lord of the Rings guy.
He's a Tolkien
She's the
guy.
same way, where she was like, she texted her parents and was like, hey, Matt's watching Lord of the Rings for the first time. And her dad was like, do you have all the bonus features?
We'll drive it to you right now.
Pause at this timestamp and this timestamp. Read these paragraphs to him.
There were a few times I had to stop, like, not necessarily pause the whole way, but after a scene would happen, I'd look at Maddie and be like, so run that by me one more time, just real quick. Like, what are we doing here?
That's fun.
That's really funny.
Which it was fun to be on the other side of that too.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so that's great. Thank you all for sharing. So any questions coming out of this movie? Any questions where you were like, that doesn't what?
I mean, I do think there's something funny about Gandalf being stranded on top of a tower and that being like, stuck here, bud.
Just here.
Like there are obviously, and again, I've never read these books, but there are obviously points where the story just happens in such a way that you're like, I can't overthink that, because if I do, the whole thing falls apart, which is how a fantasy movie is. But even like the Balrog being just behind the wall, just like, we gotta run, and then it just suddenly shows up, and I'm like, could have been here sooner. Also has gigantic flaming wings. Feels like this is kind of a lapse in our actual thought process of how we stop the Balrog. But then to overthink that takes away from Gandalf's moment.
Yeah. There were a few moments in the mines, especially, where I was like, that's some good like movie editing to hide the like it was right. It had to, like, the Balrog would have had to have been crouched down behind that wall, like waiting to jump out at them, kind of things. Like, that's good movie editing that hides it.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said, is like, don't think about it too long.
Yeah, it's not worth it. And that's just a movie thing. I think the one thing I'll say, because I know it's in the notes later, but I'll say it now just to do it. Practical effects in this movie, so enjoyable. Because if this movie were made today, which, like, I know they're doing Rings of Power is still a show, but like, if they were to do this today, half of it would be made in a studio with green walls.
I mean, the story from the first Hobbit movie, which came out after these, what is like Ian McKellen breaking down in a green screen set being like, this isn't how we do this. This isn't how this is done. Like, because he was like he went from acting with everyone else on set and like doing cool camera tricks to like, all right, talk to this tennis ball on a stick, Ian.
Yeah. Point counterpoint though, that if we didn't have that green screen, we wouldn't have had Benedict Cumberbatch crawling around and sneering at the camera with dots all over his body.
And like Benedict Cumberbatch crawling around like he is actually Smaug the dragon. That is that's fair.
The rule is we can't talk about The Hobbit until we get to the Hobbit.
Okay. I think pretty much everything, like as a first time watcher, no knowledge of the story, I felt like I caught everything. I was a little unclear why Frodo had to be the special boy, but I kind of chalked it up to he's a little hobbit boy. It's like if a hobbit goes bad, you just kick it. And then like he's like a Steve Rogers, you know, like it has to be Frodo.
He's like a Steve Rogers
because he's Frodo Baggins. So
there's an argument of like why Frodo and not Sam, and some of that comes down to like old British mentality where like
it's because Frodo's white collar and Sam's blue collar.
Frodo's higher in society than Sam is, but like most of it is like it's because he's a hobbit. And
I think intentionally or narratively the moment that's supposed to click is when when Arwen picks him up and he's like running on the horse and they get to the river. The idea is most people, like he's like succumbing to that poison.
Yeah.
Frodo had such a high will, such a high strength of will or whatever that he didn't succumb to the evil poison where like most people would. Yeah. But like, again, sure.
Yeah. But I think pretty much everything else was like, I get it. And we'll talk about it too, but the only questions that really arose were moments of like, man, why'd they put this in the movie? And then remembering that I'm watching the 4-hour cut, not the 2 hour.
Yeah.
There is a bit of like, if you can understand that J.R.R. Tolkien was a Oxford like English linguist professor first, who invented the Elvish language first, and then was like, I should write a story that I can put all these characters and language into second. It kind of like the pieces start adding up. And then the other part of that puzzle is he's a World War I vet who was like in the trenches and also vehemently defends that he did not put a single bit of World War I allegory in this story where like
no, not at all.
They're pulling mud monsters out of trenches.
Right.
Exactly.
Fascinating assertion.
Yeah.
And like he's coming from a very literal sense of like allegory is intentional, and I did not intentionally like there's nothing here like I don't want anyone reading any politics from World War I into my elves and hobbits story. It's just that like he leaned on his experiences of war to tell us a war story, but it is very funny that like man, you have like the enemy gets pulled out like birthed from mud, like like you would see a German soldier in the trenches if you were a British soldier. You sure there's no allegory there, man?
Yeah.
I
will say that I think was the thing that I expected the least going in, not knowing anything. I didn't realize that this was like a wartime movie, or that like getting the ring, that this was like the last chance for elf-manity, you know, like that there was a whole thing happening here. Obviously I know it's like, well, you got to get the ring to Mount Doom and throw it in because you do. And I kind of just thought it was like an epic quest that he was assigned on. I didn't necessarily realize there was so much like political upheaval in the lands.
The urgency of it and the political side of it was definitely something lost on me until like much more recently. That definitely went way over my 11-year-old.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of things that I heard recently, but when I started going back, so one other thing I want to unpack real quick as we get into the summary. I have added section of this show that I'm calling "Fool of a Book," which I was very proud of.
Very funny.
Thank you. Two, I'm gonna share just a few facts on like what I've learned from the book since I'm a book boy now. I book, and I think specifically around this franchise, I think it's really fascinating because the book is it's very similar. It's also very different. But the other thing I heard recently was specific. So obviously, there's a lot of like racial stereotyping here, right? And like we don't have to go through all that. It's pretty obvious what's what, but specifically the Urukai, the mud monsters, that being an allegory for the rapid growth and homogenization of American culture taking over the Western world. And like you have these like mud monsters who literally come up from the ground and are just like steamrolling the everything and taking all of the uniqueness out of the rest of the world. That to me is fascinating. I think that's so interesting.
Tolkien is a British man who was born in a century that begins with 18 and has the mentalities of such. That. And we are not excusing those mentalities, but also on the whole, he was a pretty decent guy, but there are some iffy race things baked into this.
Yeah, and we really don't. I mean, and people have covered the racial stuff.
Yes, we're not gonna get.
We can put the disclaimer that Disney put on "Song of the South" at the top of this.
Perfect. Something of its time. So there's going to be a couple things that we're pulling over from Deconstructed that I thought were fun. And we're going to do a little IMDb it. Now, we don't have to spend a ton of time here. I just, again, knowing that this movie is so iconic and so old now, what's the stunt cast? Do you think there's a stunt cast here?
I feel like, I want
Matt to, I was going to say, I want Matt to answer this first as like someone who didn't see this when it came out.
I think Ian McKellen feels like a big one. I also know, like, obviously, I've been a big pop culture nerd for a long time. So I know which of these guys were, like, really big in 2000 and who wasn't. What I thought was the most interesting when I was, like, IMDbing this a lot, because I didn't do quite as much, like, garbage hunting as I did for the decoms with this. But what I thought was really interesting was the order in which the cast was listed. Was really fascinating. And also, like, in my head, if not Ian McKellen, it's got to be Orlando Bloom and Sean Bean. Like, those are the quote unquote stunt casts.
No, I would throw, and I don't know if this is the answer, but one of the answers, Hugo Weaving. Because this is 2 years after The Matrix.
What in the goddamn fuck is Liv Tyler doing in this movie? Liv Tyler was definitely
I think that's the answer.
What's Liv Tyler doing here?
I think there's four then. I think
when did Independence Day come out? 1996? Yep.
My answer would be Liv. I think Liv Tyler is like the stunt the stunt cast is like the like prop
or Kate Blanchett. One of the two.
Kate Blanchett is where my mind goes to as stunt cast. And and like that is. But Kate Blanchett is also fantastic casting for Galadriel. And then Ian McKellen and Hugo Weaving are my other.
Kate Blanchett's great. Kate Blanchett got screwed over because they cut most of Galadriel.
Yeah. I was going to say, I watching this, knowing that there is a 2-hour theatrical cut, I was like, there's no way Kate Blanchett's in the real movie.
Nearly most of the entire Lothlorien segment is a flashback.
Got it. Okay.
And most of that doesn't appear in the movie. It's just the mirror.
I think we get the like I would be a terrible queen part, and that's about it.
She doesn't turn into a reverse image photo in the movie in the theatrical cut.
That would explain why that doesn't look that good.
No,
that looks like Duke.
That was like in a movie that looks pretty good. That was a rough looking bit.
Yeah. There were two times that characters' eyes really bothered me. That was one. The other one was the cave troll.
Cave troll was bad.
All two human eyes were a bit much to look at.
I thought you were going to say when Bilbo goes goblin mode.
No, man, that's
that was.
I
thought that was really good. Actually,
that's classic. That's iconic.
I felt like this was something that Maddie and I talked about a lot. So like I did not see these when they came out. I did see every Harry Potter movie when they came out.
Sure.
That was Julie's touch point too. Was the Harry Potter movies, and I didn't realize how much Harry Potter lifted from these until she started calling them out.
So I had always known Harry Potter is Lord of the Rings, but like commercialized for children. There is so much similarity in the two properties. But what was really interesting to me was the first 3 Harry Potter movies are way different than the back 4 or 5 Harry Potter movies. Because they all were being made at and coming out at the same time that these movies were. And so the first 3 Harry Potter movies don't look as much like Lord of the Rings. And then the back 5 Harry Potter movies are like, whoa, they just like copy pasted the backgrounds from Lord of the Rings in here. This is crazy. And that really stuck out to me, specifically at the Cave Troll, because the first Harry Potter movie has a CGI troll.
Had a troll. Yeah.
And the Harry Potter CGI troll in 2025 looks way better than Lord of the Rings CGI troll. And I thought that was really interesting. But I could talk for a Lord of the Rings movie amount of time about the effects in the Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah.
This definitely, Matt, man, I cannot wait for you to see Smeagol like realized in the next one, because that I'm pretty sure that holds up. Like that is some good ass CGI. The CGI that pulled, there were 2 CGIs that pulled me out, and I can't remember the second one, but the one is when they were leaving Rivendell, and they sweep over the New Zealand landscape, and there is like a CGI castle like pasted on top of that. And I was like, that looked really good in 2001, and it looks like a Windows screensaver right here.
Yeah, man.
So Matt mentioned it. I think so. The next question I have is whose career took off or changed the most following this movie? I think that is Orlando Bloom.
Yeah. Hands down. Maybe, I mean, you could argue, what's his name? Frodo. Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
I mean, Elijah Wood and Sean Astin were child actors, so like they were pretty.
They're already
famous.
in the drift.
But Elijah Wood got the Daniel Radcliffe, Robert Pattinson effect.
He got the free ride of like you can do whatever weird shit you want to do.
Whatever I want now.
Yeah.
But like Orlando.
Which also, speaking of, have you ever seen Wilfred? If you haven't, go watch Wilfred.
Go watch Wilfred.
Yeah,
Wilfred's real good.
That's great. That's great. Elijah Wood content.
But yeah, Orlando Bloom got a Disney franchise after this.
Yeah, I think that's definitely there's more relevant answers in the next movie, but I think Orlando Bloom is the one. And then most inspired casting, is it Cate Blanchett?
I was gonna say Cate Blanchett plays a really good.
Yeah,
I might be evil, I might not be evil, but I'm definitely a witch with magical powers and scary and powerful. She's done that a couple times now.
Sean Bean as Boromir is also up there for sure.
I think it's Sean Bean as Boromir. I fucking hated that guy from minute 1. Like so believable.
He's so good at being shitty.
And then at the end when they killed him off, I was like, perfect. Another movie Sean Bean dies in. I'm having a great time.
This kind of started that trend.
This started the trend.
Yeah.
When he showed up, so my wife and I have watched Game of Thrones. And so when he showed up the first time, I was like, Ned Stark.
Yeah,
she's like,
here we are.
I was waiting. I knew he was in this. And I was like, next words out of my mouth were, guess what happens to him?
Well, it's so funny that you say that, because when they brought him in, I was like, I don't remember another human as part of the Fellowship of the Rings. Like, did I just overlook him because Viggo Mortensen just chews up every scene? Have I just forgotten that there's this other? He's dead.
Good.
He's dead. There he is. I get it.
Viggo Mortensen is so good.
He steals every scene he's in.
And man, Viggo Mortensen's real handsome. Let me just throw that out.
He looks real good.
I put it lower as one of my discussion topics, but my partner, since we've gotten together, Viggo Mortensen has been one of her like celebrity crushes. And I had never really gotten it because I hadn't seen Lord of the Rings. But like, fuck, I get it. Holy shit.
Holy shit, when he fights off the ring wraiths.
Yeah.
Like,
Aragorn is the coolest motherfucker in this movie by a mile.
Aragorn is hands down the best character ever written for anything.
Like, he's fighting off these ring wraiths, and my partner's like, okay, but he's just a man, right? Like, how's he doing this? And I was like, Shannon, don't take this from me. And then he whipped a torch into the face of the ring wraith, and I'm like, that's how he does it.
Aragorn is such a cool character that Aragorn is the template for the entire Ranger D&D class.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that like Legolas gave unrealistic expectations of what Rangers can do.
Yeah.
And Aragorn is the actual effect of what Rangers can do.
Yep.
I want to get back, like, most inspired casting. I do think, and it's the boring answer, but it is Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen is.
My God, yeah, dude.
Like,
Ian McKellen / Christopher Lee. Like watching
Christopher Lee,
watching two Shakespearean actors like wizard battle each other.
And Matt, I'm sorry if I'm gonna project all of my like. Here's fun fact from the bonus bonus features. The Christopher Lee story is that they were filming a fight scene, and Peter Jackson gave someone who like playing an orc a direction, like make this sound when you get stabbed. And Christopher Lee was special forces in World War II.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not what a man sounds like when he gets stabbed. This is what a man sounds like when he gets stabbed.
Holy shit.
Make that noise.
Which is just so funny
metal.
when again, the thing that I want to just the fight between Saruman and Gandalf, it makes basketball sneakers on a basketball floor squeak noise at one point.
This is the only one. This is the only one that has a bit of like late 90s fantasy movie bits in it, and
it steers into like, Blade a little bit, which is
just
fine.
a little. Yeah,
and
the wire work
they,
in that fight is really good. Honestly, I loved it.
Just the fact when Gandalf's just spinning around. I had forgot. I knew a fight happened. I remembered that, but I was like, these are two of the most powerful. We assume two of the most powerful wizards, and they're effectively just shoving each other around. Like, because again, they're not going to do force lightning. You know, they're not going to like wing fireballs. Like, they're trying to stay away from what other properties have done. So it's just wire pushing and shoving.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, you're the most powerful wizard. Like, I know what you can do. It happens. Like, what are we doing here?
I forgot how much Frodo gets stabbed in this series.
He gets stabbed a few times.
More than he should.
And I forgot how many of the action scenes are, we have to get over this bridge while it's collapsing.
Yes.
Action.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Frodo getting stabbed bit was also, much like Matt gleaning a lot of Lord of the Rings from Magic the Gathering, the elven mithril that you can flash onto the battlefield from Lord of the Rings that just shows up. I was like, that's like, he got stabbed, and my partner's like, oh, he got stabbed. I'm like, no, he's gonna be fine. He's got elven mithril underneath his shirt.
I literally said,
like
a mithril coat. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like the Magic.
It's exactly a mithril coat.
It is literally a mithril coat.
And I think the least inspiring, like, I think it's Liv Tyler. I don't think she does a bad job. I think it's just like she's the most obviously like, this is a famous actor who's playing a character.
This is like New Line was like, you gotta give us. You got to put someone in for us. Like,
yeah. How do people feel about not Galadriel, but like the elf king from Lothlorien, name unknown?
Her
attendant.
Husband.
Yeah, her like,
is that Haldir?
I don't
who gives
know
a shit? Elf guy who gives a shit.
Yeah, he sucks.
I couldn't tell if he was like just some guy or like a character from the book we've included, but that guy sucked.
He's a character, but like, who cares?
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah. And then Matt, I put a placeholder here in case you had any connections to Marvel movies or straight to DVD movies from 2007.
Nah, I mean, not really. fucking Lord of the Rings, man.
Yeah,
there were a couple of people.
You've seen these people in a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
There were a few people that I was like, oh shit, like I didn't really remember that fucking Billy Boyd was in this movie. I was like, what's Billy Boyd doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Billy Boyd and who played Mary?
Yeah, the other one.
Dominic Monaghan.
Dom Monaghan, yeah.
Him I knew because when when Lost came out, I remember everybody being like, "Oh, the guy from Lord of the Rings is in Lost now."
Yes.
Well, and they've been making like the convention and podcast circuit more recently too together. They've been like a duo going hey, remember
and the two of them, Sean Astin and Elijah Wood, like stayed friends for a long time. Like they're all still like very close, apparently.
And then I kind of forgot like Hugo Weaving was in this movie. And so when Hugo Weaving came out, I was like, oh shit, Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
I
like him as Elrond.
Yeah.
I liked him as Elrond.
It's so good to see him as like not Agent Smith. Like not Agent Smith, not the Red Skull. Like he's like a force for good.
It's the most straightforward character I think he's ever played.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then we're going to take a quick break. But before we do, what's that line that made you Leo DiCaprio point at the screen? There's a lot of memes in this movie. There's a lot of things that like, even if you haven't seen the thing, you know, you've heard. Like for me, when I did the Leo point when I hear, what about second breakfast? 11Cs? I mean, that's just like, oh, such a classic line. But did you guys have those Leo DiCaprio point at the screen moments?
If it wasn't Melon, then it was You Shall Not Pass. But before he says that, he says a different version of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't say quite like you shall not.
You cannot pass.
Yeah, he said that, and for a brief moment, I was like, "Well, that's not it. Hang on."
I had a brief moment. I had a brief moment of like, "Is this a
Berenstein Bear situation?"
It's a Luke, I am your father, because Darth Vader does not say, "Luke, I am your father" in that movie. He says,
"No, I am your father."
No, I am. Yeah, and I wondered if it was that, and then he says it like 4 seconds later.
Just right afterwards.
Yeah.
I had a couple point at the screen moments. The first was Scary Bilbo.
Scary Bilbo.
I did a bit of that at the Mithril coat scene because I have the card and I love the card. And I was like, it's the thing. And then I had the third one and that I did, and I can't remember it now. And it might just be that Sam saying Mr. Frodo was like a vocal stim of mine for a long time.
And be like, oh, Mr. Frodo, like that voice. Yeah, like he's
Mr.
almost
Frodo.
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, Miss. Oh, Rosie Cotton over there, Mr. Frodo. Like, yeah, it is like that voice is the equivalent of like hot apple cider.
Yeah, I remembered it. It's One Does Not Simply Walk into Mortar.
Yes.
That was one where I like sat down and leaned forward, and yes, that is a.
But I always forget that the screenshot's wrong. He's doing the like circle with his hand. That's not when he says one does not simply. Yeah. So he's also saying it is a gift.
The meme is wrong.
Yeah, the meme is wrong.
had many a moment at which I Leo'd at the screen as someone who has consumed this movie predominantly through GIFs.
I assume you watched this in the same way Todd and I watched High School Musical, where you're like, oh, that's the thing.
Yeah. The biggest two were One Does Not Simply Walk into Mordor and My Axe. Because my axe meme has been like
we say it all the time.
Yeah, that's top three uses.
I only didn't Leonardo DiCaprio point at the screen for "and my axe" because
you were saying it along with him.
Because I was like trying, like holding back a manly tear of like, yes, the fellowship is coming together. That scene got me.
Oh, and then when Elrond said, and so it shall be, the Fellowship of the Rings, and I looked right at Maddie and I was like, the movie! They said the name! Said the name of the movie!
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to go through a deeper summary. We're going to talk about some of our findings and how this matches with the book. So stay with us. I don't know. There's probably going to be some ad from 2001. I don't fucking know. We'll see you in a minute. Bye.
What we've done with some of our forced perspective shots is be able to move the camera for the first time. That they were always techniques that required the camera to be locked off, because once you started to move the camera, it would give away the illusion of one person being further away when you're really wanting them to look like they're side by side.
In order to get the camera alive, we started thinking about ways of using motion control in order to doing what we call moving forced perspective shots using slave motion control bases.
You do a motion control move where you have the one actor on a moving platform. So when the camera moves, you're doing your moves all relative. So you're literally sliding the guy along on the floor as your motion control move motion control camera is moving along.
You have the camera on a motion control dolly, making it move in and out or side to side. But you have another smaller dolly that's electronically hooked to it and does the exact same motion, but sort of in a counter movement. But every time you move one way on one dolly, the other one immediately responds.
When you're actually viewing it, you're basically doing a split, and if you're doing a move around, when you do this split, it looks like they're moving in sync with each other, and it's because you're moving the two guys around relative to this moving camera.
In the shot where Frodo is pouring tea for Gandalf at a table, and the camera kind of crabs past from one side of the table to the other side, and in that instance, Ian McKellen was actually sitting on a dolly that was actually moving him slightly on a small-scale table with small-scale props, and it was not too far from a full-size table, a Frodo-sized table with larger Frodo-sized props.
I've got a look there.
When he's standing?
Yeah, but I don't, and I got a look there for when Nigel's sitting. What I don't have is a look when he's crouching, which is the beginning of the shot.
Okay, well, we can give you that. We can go back to number ones and make sure that you've got that.
Through camera, at one end of the move, everything lines up. When you move to the other end of the track, everything still lines up because that smaller table and Ian McKellen on that other dolly has moved slightly.
It's kind of fun to actually build these things and see them in camera. It's wonderful. It's fun to actually just, get dailies back and the shots done.
It worked pretty seamlessly, and everyone was really amazed with the results.
In the fires of Mount Doom, taken by Isildur from the hand of...
The fate of the world will soon be decided. The dominion of evil grows even stronger. There is a union now between the two towers, Barad-dûr, fortress of the Dark Lord Sauron, and Orthanc, stronghold of the wizard Saruman. The peril of the ring-bearer deepens. An unseen danger draws closer, for there is another who hunts the ring.
They stole my precious, and we want it.
Back to you now, at the turn of the tide.
Welcome back. Okay, so we're going to split this into what I've got 3 acts here, which are, kind of my delineation. So we'll do a quick summary. Let's go through our discussion topics, just like with Deconstructed, where we all brought just a few random discussion points, and then we'll do a couple of things on what I found to be different from the books, which I think are interesting. So we open on our 7-minute intro that's voiced by Galadriel, Kate Blanchett. We get a lot of exposition into the One Ring, into the history of Middle Earth. We learn about Sauron. We learn about all the different species. And then snap cut to the Shire. We meet Frodo. We meet Bilbo. Again, like, it's so funny that The Lord of the Rings, the book, was written basically as a sequel to The Hobbit. But I think virtually everybody, at least in our generation, has seen The Lord of the Rings or saw this first. Like I think maybe not these days, but I think there is a massive amount of people who, like, their first interaction with this franchise is The Lord of the Rings and not The Hobbit. So, like, you don't know who Bilbo is.
So I've joked before that the only Lord of the Rings movie I've seen is the one with the Ed Sheeran song, and that is The Hobbit.
That is The Hobbit, you're right.
Yeah. So I am that person that like I saw The Hobbit first. Now let me say, I was fucking wasted.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah.
It was a phrase that you will all recognize as a Fridays, Films, and 40s, in which I had consumed multiple large bottles of malt liquor, and I do not remember much of that movie, but I do remember Scream singing the Ed Sheeran song with other drunk guys in the living room.
The Ed Sheeran one is the second one.
Great.
Oh, good.
Even better. Even better.
Yeah. And
I don't know, man. I was hammered.
Those, unlike these movies, those get worse as that trilogy goes on. But we're not allowed to talk about The Hobbit.
We're not allowed to talk about The Hobbit. This is only good vibes. So we have Bilbo's birthday, in which Bilbo Baggins magically vanishes and leaves the Shire, leaving his entire estate into Frodo's hands, along with all of the spoons, so many spoons that the Sackville Bagginses didn't get to. And then Frodo is then visited by Gandalf. Gandalf says, here's this magical ring. Oh, by the way, it's cursed. Oh, by the way, it's a cursed magical item. Oh, by the way, you need to go. There are 9 demonic black riders coming after you, and you are just a small, frail little boy.
Yeah,
and you should take off running now.
Yeah,
you should go
and you
now.
Should leave. Also, take your gardener with you. He'll protect you.
I remembered my another point at the screen moment, and that was go on, keep your secrets. Then that one got me too.
That's a good.
Speaking about it being his gardener, when they're like, What did you hear, Sam? You're like, I didn't hear nothing. Well, I heard about a ring, but I didn't hear
the end of the world and all that.
Yeah. He denies it about 6 times before saying, well, I did hear about a ring and all the terrible other things that go with it. And he's like, damn it, go with him.
Yeah, you silly kids. So Sam and Frodo leave the Shire and run into Merry and Pippin, who are two other hobbits. And the 4 hobbits leave the Shire, and they find themselves in the nearby town of Bree, where they're supposed to meet up with Gandalf. And Bree is kind of where the end of Act 1, where we've left the Shire, and this is where we meet Strider, this mysterious guy who calls himself a ranger, who turns out to be a good guy, and basically ushers the hobbits out of safety from town to Rivendell. So let's pause there. Let's do some. So what'd you guys find? Kyle, do you want to start?
Yeah, these movies look so good.
They look really good.
Movies don't look this good anymore, and I'm so mad. I put this here because this is where like most of the like camera tricks and like special rigs they built so that Elijah Wood looks 2 feet tall next to Ian McKellen
when he toddler flops onto his cart.
Tall. Yeah. They built like the cart is built with like the shifted perspective and like a camera rig that like stays in sync with it so
it's
that it
truly
keeps it
amazing.
as it moves by. And then they do it again where he's like setting a table for him in the tiny hobbit house and like it's so good.
There's wide angle shots with doubles. There's you get a far off wide angle shot, and then you get close ups where you never see Elijah Wood's face and feet at the same time. Like
yep.
Well, and then there's
incredible.
the other not so subtle things where when you're in Bilbo's Hobbit house, like obviously Gandalf is bumping his head on everything. Like
there were two Bilbo house sets. A tiny one to put Ian McKellen in, and a giant one to put Elijah Wood in. Like
Which is, it's just really funny that like to take all the effort of force perspective, this, and that. Also, full size man, small set. Like it's just really funny the tricks they had to put in there. And I'm glad that you guys brought it up, because that's what I also thought a lot. I was like, the care that they had to take in any scene that has hobbits and full size people, there has to be some level of trickery. And that's really, really fascinating.
Yeah. I got a lot of background info from my partner who has devoured the special features of these DVDs.
Who had her dad on speakerphone for 4 hours.
But even without, I mean, like, just as somebody who's watched movies for a long time, you can see so many moments that are so carefully done in a way that like they just don't do anymore. And the birthday scene, just that whole field being built at a weird scale with people on stilts and other people on their knees, just a whole situation. It's really, really good, man.
Yeah. This movie made tons of money and did these incredible, like had all the money to work with, but like also didn't have a super inflated, like didn't go over budget either. Like they got a giant budget to work with and stayed in budget. And the urban legend version of it, or like the story of it that goes around, is like they shot all 3 movies at the same time. And that's not entirely true. But
they shot the second and third one pretty close together. They shot
it like a TV show. So like they came back to all these sets and they reused all the costume. Like they reused everything between shootings, but like it wasn't like, all right, we wrapped movie 1 and tomorrow we start movie 2. It's like
linearly.
They came back, they took some time off and came back like a TV show does. And like Return of the King has some of the biggest like ROI on a movie because the budget is front loaded in the first 2 movies, and then this Return of the King is the one that like
cheapest Oscar ever.
Yeah. Cheapest 11 Oscars ever.
Yes, cheapest Best Picture ever.
The other point I have under like the practical effects being so good is like there is CGI in this movie. We talked about it, and it's you see it. It's 2001 CGI. Yeah. It's very good 2001 CGI. But like what makes it so good too is that it was used with a light hand and like planned out and not shot like, all right, you two deliver your lines and then we're going to ship this off to the animation studio who are going to put your Iron Man and Captain America suits on over the conversation happening. It's like it was very like, and this is where we will put the CGI effect.
Yeah.
Act around it and match the lighting to it. It's very good CGI.
It also like, it's funny. It's almost like it's kind of paced like a video game insofar as like, okay, now we're getting to the action sequence, and here's the QuickTime event, and here's where the CG exists, and we're not going to have a lot of plot. And then now that's over, the action sequence is done. Now we can move on to the next thing and keep going on the story.
It's because most video games can trace their line. Can trace its lines back to this, the books.
Yeah, you're right.
And
you're absolutely right.
That was what I was going to add there is like, this felt like a D&D campaign. And again, I have the knowledge that everything comes back to this. But it's like looking at a chicken and being like, I saw that egg. I did see that egg.
That's great. So in this first section of Fool of a Book, I think, so thinking through you guys, it was funny because this was my first time watching the movie with any semblance of knowledge of the book. Now, I will note, I haven't finished the book yet because it's The Lord of the Rings, but I'm most of the way through the Fellowship, enough to whatever. And while you guys were slacking, you're texting and being like, man, this pacing is so slow. Like there's so much happening. I'm on the other hand being like, they're already in Bree. Holy shit. Because
We didn't spend 2 chapters dealing with Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, we didn't spend 2 chapters. So what's wild about this? Are you book boy, Kyle?
Yes.
Okay.
I have not read the books since middle school, high school, but I have read them.
So I'll ask if you please correct me if I get something wrong, because I'm a very new book boy. I'm the Frodo Baggins of book boys right now. But what's so interesting to me is almost one half of the book is just them leaving the Shire.
Yeah.
Like it's so much of the book is them just and there's so much more of like Bilbo's birthday, but specifically like the time is like, so the movie would have you think that like this is just like a few days. 20, almost upwards of 20 years are supposed to pass between
that is
Bilbo's birthday and Frodo leaving the Shire.
What?
Yeah.
My God.
The time scale on this is massive. And that like it's specifically like the amount of time Gandalf is gone learning that the One Ring is the One Ring.
Yeah, it's not a couple days. It's like
20
decades.
years.
Well, they did not sell that in the movie.
No, they should have
much.
And again, like that's a terrible movie, right? Like that's boring, and nobody
that
cares
sucks.
about that.
Yeah,
but
it's like
but
here's
it does,
this cursed item 20 years later.
But what it does do is add to all of the world building that then the movie can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, and we'll talk about when we get into the Mines of Moria, but there's like all this other shit that's going on with the dwarves and with the elves that like time is passing. And that
the war
in that 20
is
years.
continuing, yeah.
Right. In that 20 years, it is the period of time between Gollum first being like that ring being stolen and then Gollum being captured by the agents of Mordor and then like searching for the ring and like growing the armies of Sauron.
Yeah.
Right. So like darkness, like that 20 years that elapses is basically the beginning of a JRPG saying like darkness has fallen across the land.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
The armies of darkness are, you know what I mean? Yada, yada, yada. But, see, the other piece there is, so Gandalf never comes back. Gandalf returns to tell Frodo, hey, this, like, so when Bilbo leaves, they still, like, they know this is a ring, but they know, like, Bilbo's weird about this ring, but, like, nobody knows anything about it.
Yeah.
And when Gandalf comes back, he's like, hey, that's the whole, like, throw it in the fire. Holy shit, this is the ring. You're going to have to leave, but don't leave until I come back. I will escort you out. And he never comes back.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Frodo decides to leave the Shire, and he does just in the nick of time because like one of the Black Riders like ends up at Bag End. And that's where like he and Sam leave, and then they run into Merry and Pippin, and then the 4 of them leave the Shire. There's a whole segment, Kyle made the joke, like Tom Bombadil. There's this weird forest god who just lives on the outskirts of the Shire, who is just like a dude that lives in a shack and saves them from a bunch of barrow ghouls, some ghouls in the forest. And he's just like a weird forest spirit. And it's Tom Bombadil. And there's no reason to put him in the movie because it doesn't relate to much of anything.
The director's cut was 4 hours long already.
Yeah.
Tom Bombadil would have just like slammed on the brakes right when the movie was building momentum. Like it's too much. It was the right call to leave him out of the movie. The point of Tom Bombadil exists, like the narrative purpose he serves is twofold. One, it's like to show it's the world building aspect of like, here's this other super powerful like Galadriel, Gandalf, Sauron.
There are deities and spirits that we don't understand.
Yeah, powered entity who like he's not doing anything, but he's just as powerful as them. And then the other thing is he in the book, he's the only person who like, or entity who holds the ring and isn't affected at all by it. He like holds the ring.
Whimsical forest spirit man.
Yeah. He takes the scene in the book is like he takes the ring and is like, cool ring, and like hands it back. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And again, great thing in the book.
Yeah.
Fantastic decision to leave him out of the movie.
That,
like, I'm sorry,
totally
Tom
will cut
Bombadil
the
fans. Like,
yeah,
boy, would that have just killed any momentum the already slow start movie was building.
So by the time they get to Bree, like a few months have passed because the hobbits have been through like absolute hell and just getting out of the Shire because they're, just 4 little guys. So the Gandalf is supposed to meet them at Bree, obviously doesn't. He leaves a letter. That letter ends up with the innkeeper who forgets to tell them that Gandalf sent them this letter. So like hilarity ensues. They meet up with Strider, but the letter, they eventually get the letter. The letter says, this is Aragorn, the basically like the next king of man. So we actually find out that Strider is Aragorn right there. It's not revealed by Legolas. It's in that we learn it when we meet Strider. Again, not an important point, but interesting, like the timeline of all of this. So, and also that's when they get Bill the Pony, which is another important character that they mentioned Bill the Pony, but like no payoff for Bill the Pony.
No payoff. No Bill the Pony payoff.
Yeah.
I know Bill the Pony from hit card game Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. When Mark Rosewater invented Bill the Pony, yeah.
Yeah, they said, even for one as brave as Bill. And I was like, oh shit, we've had Bill the Pony the whole time? I didn't even realize it.
The thing about like them taking them forever to get to Bree is like in part to show like how comfy, cozy a hobbit's life is.
Yes.
And like how antithetical adventuring is to hobbits. And I
7 meals a day.
Yeah, like
shoes.
A discussion point I didn't have is like, boy, doesn't the hobbit's life just look fantastic?
Yeah, it's great.
Live in a hole and eat, man.
Yeah, they just drink and eat and bang
dance
all day
and live in a hole.
Sleep in feather pillows.
Yeah. So yeah, like them making the short journey to the next closest town.
Yeah.
Is this like harrowing experience for them.
Yeah.
Is to just set up like, man, the long march to Mordor is going to be a nightmare.
It shows how small they are and how large this world is. So speaking of, we're in Bree. We meet Strider, aka Aragorn. He's beautiful. Strider takes the hobbits farther east, I think, towards Rivendell, the city of the elves. And there they get to Weathertop, which is this lookout where they're looking for Gandalf. They're trying to find where they're going. And there we have the big showdown with the Ring Wraiths, or the Nazgul. Very cool fight scene. Frodo gets stabbed. Count 1 on the Frodo stab count.
Ding.
Ding. Frodo gets stabbed and has evil dark poison, ring darkness that's corrupting him. We eventually meet up with a mysterious elf. We learn who is Arwen. We also later learn this is Aragorn's lover. There are 3 women in this entire franchise, and 2 of them are in love with Aragorn.
Yeah, sure are.
That's really funny that, like, so I didn't know that we weren't supposed to know that Strider was Aragorn, or that we gave a shit who Aragorn was.
They keep the secret a bit longer in the book.
Yeah.
They keep it's like 15 minutes between.
It's not a reveal that we like really like. It's not a surprising reveal because you don't know who that is anyway. Like, that means nothing to you.
One of the first Lord of the Ring cards that I got was Aragorn and Arwen wed, and so when they introduced Aragorn, I was like, oh, I bet he gets married to Arwen, and Maddie was like, yeah, but like not for a while.
That's funny. Also, he's not black in this one. He's only black in Magic the Gathering's universe.
Yeah.
Because of course the internet hated that when that came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they made the Magic deck a bit more inclusive than the casting was in this movie.
Yeah, and the books.
And the books probably.
So Arwen rescues them and throws Frodo on her white horse, and we get this pretty cool horse chase across the plains. Yeah,
again across just New Zealand. Let me remind everyone.
Yes.
All the outdoor shots are
just New Zealand.
Just New Zealand.
Just New Zealand.
Fantastical realm of New Zealand.
One thing, we were talking about practical effects, but just like practical shooting, this is before drones, and there were a lot of shots in this that I was like...
The helicopter shots.
Yeah,
My God.
man. I was like, somebody is hanging by a belt out of a helicopter for this, and it's so good.
It's especially after they leave Rivendell. Holy shit. There's some really good shots.
Well, that goes to, I think one of my points for this was the horse chase scene. Just kind of felt like they're like, we don't need anyone for the next 2 days. We're just going to film them riding horses through the countryside for a bit. That's a wrap on everyone except for the writers and Liv Tyler, or the actress stunt cast for Liv Tyler on the horse, for 2 days. See you all on Thursday.
So my time for a bonus features fact.
Kyle.
So like, yes, obviously they used a lot of like stunt horse riders, but each of the like main cast did have a horse. That like they have plenty of scenes they're riding a horse, and they all had their own horse. And Viggo Mortensen loved shooting this movie so much.
Of course.
And he bought his horse from the handlers when filming wrapped. Like he was like, it's like I bonded with this horse. This is my horse now.
Yeah. He went on to be in a horse movie called Hidalgo.
That's right. Yeah.
And my partner, who is in love with Viggo Mortensen, told me that that's the movie that really going from Aragorn to Hidalgo is like the whammy for horse girls and Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I get it, man.
I believe it.
So after the exciting climax of this horse chase is Arwen and Frodo make it to the other side of a river, and Arwen uses elf magic to summon a tidal wave to drown the horses, which and then
one of the better looking moments of CGI.
Yeah, it
looks great.
Good.
Yeah,
it looks great. And then Frodo passes out and wakes up in Rivendell, and all of a sudden Gandalf's there. Gandalf's made it safely to Rivendell. Frodo goes, "Where the fuck were you?" And Gandalf says, "Sorry, I was waylaid, etc., etc. Here are your friends. Everyone's safe and safe. And also here's Bilbo." And we see Bilbo. Bilbo's way older, and that's wild because 7 days have passed.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
he's writing
crazy.
The Hobbit.
Yeah, and he's writing The Hobbit, which has already happened. And then we get to smash cut to Ian McKellen is talking with Hugo Weaving, and Ian McKellen are talking about the sequence of events. And Ian McKellen explains that he was not waylaid, but got into a scary wizard battle with Christopher Lee.
So wait, how long is he on the tower?
So the tower happens. That is only a couple days. That's not a ton of time.
Okay.
The main amount of time that Gandalf is he's just like researching. He's going from town to town and going
library
to like every
library.
library to library,
doing the wizard shit.
Yeah. And then we get to the Council of Elrond, and we meet the Fellowship of the Ring. We meet Legolas, who is the dignitary from a different elven community. We meet Gimli, son of Glowin from the one Gloin from The Hobbit, one of the dwarves from The Hobbit. And we meet a bunch of other random mooks who don't matter. And we also meet Sean Bean as Boromir, who is our representative from Men. And together they are declared Fellowship of the Ring TM, along with Sam, Merry, and Pippin, who are also there. And the group agrees that Frodo must be the special boy to return the ring to Mount Doom in Mordor.
I was going to ask if Gimli's dad was in The Hobbit, so that's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the books, then, how much time has passed between Frodo leaving Bag End and getting to Rivendell?
I think like a number of months, probably like 3 or 4, maybe like 4 or 5 months, something like that.
Cool. Sure.
Yeah. Because the trip from the trip between Bree and Rivendell is also like a couple of months, which they say, and they're just walking. Strider takes them like way farther north than they need to, and then they have to like double because they get lost and they have to like double back. Which again, that's not a good movie.
Yeah.
The Arwen showing up is a movie thing. There's in the book, there's just like another elf lord who shows up who like doesn't really matter. What does matter though is I was surprised the river tidal wave is Gandalf. Like that in the book, that's Gandalf doing that.
But
not Arwen.
And this maps onto like D&D, Matt, like especially edition 1 D&D Wizards too. Like the magic in this is much less like casting spells at your enemies and more like making weather happen.
It's
and like
air bending and water bending.
Yeah. I mean, it's old. It's quote unquote like old magic. Like
it's the old magic. Yeah.
Analog magic.
Analog magic.
Are we in discussion?
Yeah, let's discussion topics. Do it.
Okay.
Kyle already said it, but I want to say it again that like the culmination of the Fellowship being put together, like it for a property that I don't care that much about, like it made me feel something.
Yeah.
That like, and I think what it is like, I know what happens in the next two movies. Like,
I don't tell me.
Well, I'll be very vague that these asterisks on the number 9, because that's not how it is anymore.
Of course, certainly.
The 9 of them go through hell.
Go through it.
Like
absolute hell.
Frodo goes through hell.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. And so seeing these like this, you know, ragtag group of the Island of the Misfit Toys being like, you gotta go, you're gonna save the world. And like seeing them still like young and fresh faced, like you haven't witnessed capital T, capital H, the horrors.
Yeah.
Like it made me feel something because I'm like, man, you guys got this. Like good luck out there.
I didn't know what like of these 3 acts to put this one in, and I think it goes here. Is it was so good to see a movie with like hope and like not a smidge of like irony or like some like sarcasm to it. Just like, yeah, we are the 9 in the Fellowship and we are gonna get this ring to Mordor, and like no, there were no jokes, there was no like
there's lighthearted moments and there's
but like not, in that moment there's nothing like no Whedon-esque lines to break the tension. No one like pointing out like it's gonna if we make it or anything. Like it's just like 9 people who are like yeah, it is our duty to do this, and like
well, and the fact that like majority of them are seemingly kind of strangers. Like there's loose connective tissue, but again, like in the loosest terms, towards like they build bonds over the next couple movies. And so it's fun to see. I mean, specifically Legolas and Gimli.
Yeah, they like kind of fucking hate each other. At the beginning,
who are like we have a vested interest in saving Middle Earth, so we're gonna do this together. But we really don't like. There's no friendship here at this point, and like knowing that changes is just really, really fun.
None of them, I will include Boromir in this state. Like none of them are joining the Fellowship with an ulterior motive. Like they are all they're all on board, like for the mission of.
It's the thing we have to do.
They're also none of them are doing it for. No one is doing it for anyone other than themselves and their own respective families and people, which is like understandable. But like they don't have any loyalty to Frodo or to Gandalf or to Elrond, which is an interesting dynamic.
They just all have a reason to do this.
But just to see like a very straightforward, like, yes, we formed the team and we all have the same goal, like was very refreshing to see. Because everything immediately after this was, how can we take this moment from The Lord of the Rings and subvert it in some way?
Yeah.
And it's been like that for 24 years since this movie came out.
You're right.
The Wild Hogs all got together because Tim Allen called them. And together they put their forces forward for good.
Let the record show that wasn't Matt.
It was not me. I swear to God. Officer, my hands are up.
I'm going to need to see your text conversation, though, just to confirm.
Matt is laying down on the ground prone. Like, I didn't do it, officer.
Matt's picking up a new property, so I had to carry his ring.
Yeah.
The thing that I really wanted to talk about from this section was the wizard fight. But beyond like just the actual wizard fight, again, haven't read the books, don't know anything. Boy, when they roll up on Saruman, it's like that guy looks like a bad guy. And
he does.
They come in on the sweeping view of the tower, and it's this like big old fucking black spire in the middle of the woods.
Shit.
And I know like wizards have towers, whatever, but they pull up and I'm like, this has got to be a bad thing. Gandalf's riding in. I'm like, what is Gandalf getting into? And then a wizard in white walks out, and I was like, hold, okay, this wasn't what I expected. And so I know Christopher Lee lore, and I kind of knew like Christopher Lee, bad guy in the Lord of the Rings. So the switch wasn't completely unexpected, but it did like
it's a very ominous scene too, right?
It happens really fast, and it does kind of feel like like from the minute Gandalf shows up, it's like, hey dude, I don't think you should be here. But we said it earlier, 2 Shakespearean actors at I mean probably like their last thing before retirement age, I'd have to guess, like probably both early 60s at this point. It's just so good, man. Like the level to which these 2 characters are not Sir Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee talking to each other is so different than modern movies where every character is, but like it's fucking Chris Pratt, isn't it? That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the actor.
It's just, they're so in it, and it sells so well that even, like the wire work in the wizard fight, and that just being these like, this fucking 2 old white guys with sticks, man, but it looks so good.
It's an interesting comparison to even like Ian McKellen as Gandalf versus Ian McKellen as Magneto even.
Yeah.
Because I think if you compare that scene to Ian McKellen versus Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier, I would argue those are more the actors than the characters.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
agreed.
Whereas like Ian McKellen blends in at like, that's Gandalf.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So my like, here's some more lore. For both these actors, this would be, they're two older British, like classically trained actors who Christopher Lee knew J.R.R. Tolkien, for one. That's like one.
That's
awesome. Christopher Lee has had an insane life, for one.
Man.
But this, like, to the like Shakespearean actor comparison, this would be like asking a classically trained actor to film the first Shakespeare movie. Like, that's how important Lord of the Rings is to like British culture and everything too. Like, they were both like,
that's
Ian
cool
McKellen is a huge nerd and fan of the franchise. Like they both were like, when casting came out, they were both like, I don't care what has to happen, get me in these movies, because of how like into the books they were. Like,
that rules.
So they were acting at the top of their game, like for the love of the game too. Like,
I do also need to say that I just looked because I thought, Christopher Lee was probably in his 60s when he was filming this movie. He's fucking 79 years old when they filmed this movie, which is insane. And he was 17 years older than Ian McKellen at the time.
Really?
He's still Christopher Lee was born in 22. Ian McKellen was born in 39. So Ian McKellen was basically 60 years old, stick fighting and getting whipped like a bitch, if I may say, by an 80-year-old Christopher Lee.
Yikes.
So the other thing,
pretty cool.
The other thing, like you brought up, Matt, that I want to touch on is like the good guys wear white is more of like a movie trope than a trope in books, because it's like visual language.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. The Saruman the White and Gandalf the Gray are like power rankings.
Yeah.
Those are like wizard power ranking titles. So
like
white is
belts
strong
in karate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So like white is stronger than gray, and like and there's the
there's
brown.
A blue, there's a blue wizard and a brown wizard.
Yeah, and they all mean different. They're different types and strength of wizard.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that comes from, and why that like visual disconnect exists here.
Fascinating.
It's just like that trope wasn't established when the books were written.
One of the things that I thought was cool, like when I first saw this, it definitely felt like Gandalf is just stuck at the top of this tower, and then like all of a sudden that like massive falcon shows up, like kind of the Deus Ex Machina falcon. Mm-hmm. So cool point. So Kyle was talking about the other wizards. In the books, part of the like lead up to this moment is Gandalf runs into the brown wizard, who's like kind of an idiot. Yeah. Who's like kind of he's thought of as like kind of a simpleton. He's a druid basically.
Oh,
he's
sure.
like,
okay.
all of his magic revolves around like talking to animals. He's the Aquaman. If the wizards are the super friends or the super friends, then the Radagast is Aquaman. But so he runs into Aquaman, and Aquaman's like, "You got to go talk to Saruman, I guess, or whatever. I don't know." And Gandalf's like, "All right, whatever, shut up." So he's at the top of his tower, and he is talking to. He recognizes one of Radagast's like bird friends, and is like, "Hey, go tell Radagast I'm in trouble."
It's the moth. He like talks to the moth.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that's not a Deus Ex Machina thing. It's just like, again, why would they explain the entire nature of like the brown wizard Radagast,
right?
Who's who's sticking his finger up his nose while he's
Deus Ex Radagast.
Yeah. So and to close why didn't the eagles just fly over and drop the ring into Mount Doom argument before it even comes up?
Oh, well, that doesn't come up for another 2 movies, but we'll take it.
Say it.
Because you know how easy it is to shoot a bird out of the sky when
pretty fucking easy.
Right where it's going.
Yeah, man,
in like
I get it.
The most heavily guarded part of the continent. Like, you gotta sneak a tiny little hobbit in there.
Yeah,
instead.
that's the point. Like, your point is 100% true, but then if like in the strategic planning of how do we destroy the ring, and they're like, guys, we can't do the giant hawks, too obvious, not safe, won't work.
And the hawks are like beings that also like, we don't want to get shot.
It's Rhodey in Endgame doing the why don't we just go back in time and kill Thanos when he's
like,
yes.
I
have to say it.
I only laugh because it's like, hawks are off the table, guys. Too obvious, too dangerous, cannot do it. Only other option, and they point to Frodo. And they're like, we're gonna pin this ring to his coat like your parents did for permission slips when you were in elementary school to go to the zoo. And he's gonna walk in there and he'll take care of it. I won't hear a third option. We're done. We're moving on.
So speaking of moving on, so we have the Council of Elrond. It's decided the Fellowship has been established. Frodo and the team must take the ring to Mordor, and take the ring to Mordor they do, except for instead they just hike up a bunch of mountains and go back around and then go under the mountain through the mines of Moria. And there we find a swamp, we find a hidden door, we find a little D&D puzzle, and a Kraken monster attacks, which is fun.
I forgot entirely about the Kraken monster.
Well, so that was where
probably the most forgettable moment in the movie, frankly.
It's up there.
We talked about, the D&D-ness of it all. Yeah. That moment is the most D&D ass. Sure like, you're going to this mine. Oh, like a big scary thing chased us, and well, we can't go back. We have to go that way.
Also, the speak friend and enter is a D&D ass puzzle.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so glad you said that, Todd, because I had the thought of like so many of the conflicts, especially like until the third one, are with things that don't have anything to do with the quest. Like the Balrog is not after the ring. It's just another evil thing they have to deal with.
It is the thing the DM dropped to create urgency on the puzzle.
Yes.
Just like the Kraken is the thing the DM dropped to say you can't go back that way. You gotta go forward.
Yeah.
And like
really
that's
funny.
just like how that shit go. Or like, oh, you're taking too long to loot the tomb. Orcs and a cave troll are coming. Like it's all like D&D little things that I thought that was fun.
You failed your stealth check, so you've alerted all the bad things in the cave that you're here. And
I'm gonna put a Kraken here because it's gonna let me grapple multiple party members at once, and that's fun for me.
So we do a dungeon crawl in the Mines of Moria. They scale the basically the ancient city, the ancient and lost city of the dwarves, which is like so fucking cool, man. Oh my god, it's so cool.
The mountains are the other thing about the mountains are like this is the route. The mountains are a route Bilbo took in The Hobbit.
Yes,
that is a callback to The Hobbit, and it was like the difference here is that it was like relatively uneventful.
Yeah,
in The Hobbit. It like the big thing about it in The Hobbit was like it was cold, and Bilbo didn't like how cold it was.
There's so much of like The Hobbit was meant to be a children's story. Like, and it's like, we're going on a fun adventure. And then The Lord of the Rings is dark and morbid and everything sucks. And people just get stabbed all the time.
Yeah.
That was actually like, in talking to my wife, she was like, why is it so dour? And I was like, well, you have to understand that like it's comparing it to The Hobbit. And she was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool that like Frodo's whole thing is like, I've wanted to go on an adventure my entire life, and now that I'm on an adventure, it's awful. And I hate it. Yeah. But anyway.
Which, again, back to the World War I thing of like, when you're like that age, you're like, man, I wish there were all like, if you're 18, every 18-year-old male was like, man, I wish there was a war so I could go get some glory and go on an adventure. And then World War I happened, and it was the worst thing that happened until the next World War.
Oh man. So we go through the Mines of Moria, and they discover the tomb of Balin, who is Gimli's cousin. And Gimli realizes that there is not a thriving civilization here, rather just a bunch of corpses. A bunch of corpses.
A whole lot of dead dwarves.
A whole lot of dead dwarves. And then Peregrine Took knocks a bucket and a whole ass corpse into a well and awakens literally thousands of goblins.
Which obviously it's very, very bad. But when Gandalf turns to him and is like, you should kill yourself. Like, it was, I like,
next time throw yourself down that well and rid us of your stupidity.
He turned to him and I was like, ooh, he's gonna get a talking to. But when Gandalf's like, I wish you were dead. I was
that's
like,
not even,
oh, Gandalf.
That's not even the first one, because when they're stuck at the doors, Pippin's like, you got any other ideas on how to open it? He's like, I might just bash your head against it.
I mean, Gandalf is what, presumably hundreds of years old, right?
Yeah.
Like he's
thousands.
I mean, like thousands. Like everyone here is incredibly old.
Yeah.
And your sense of humor would change drastically if you were not only incredibly old, but you've equipped hobbits with this mission because they're useless.
Yeah.
And so now you're like, so here's the deal. You're going to go to World War I to be in the trenches, but you have to carry 4 chinchillas with you the whole time. And they have to be alive. Because if you can't make it through the trenches with at least one of these chinchillas, you lose the war.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what Gandalf...
Really,
that's
kind of what he's
with.
dealing. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what he's dealing. Because also, like, it's important to note, Gandalf is also terrified.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
well,
this is like Gandalf, there's shit in here that Gandalf can't deal with.
Yeah.
Well, when he when he looks at Frodo and he's like, you have to do it because if anyone else does it, we're doomed and I'll murder everyone.
Yeah. It's like, if you give me that ring right now, we are all dead.
Yeah.
not me, the rest of you. Like, I will kill the rest of you if you give me that ring.
And just Gandalf so clearly sees the issue at hand and how deadly everything is. If you give it to me, we all die. And if we don't take care of this, we all die. And like, both of those things are really bad. And so now I have to shepherd you through this. Like, Gandalf is just over everyone's shit, I think.
Yeah. So the goblins attack, and we get our court mandated fight scene, which is great, which is really good.
Fight scene.
Yeah.
Great.
We get to see
the close quartered fight scene.
Yeah, we get to see Legolas and Gimli do their thing for the first time, which is good. We see Boromir. Boromir's a brick shit house. And then Pippin and Merry get some fun bits where they're rodeoing the cave troll, which is really fun.
They really are the ice climbers, and it's kind of fun.
They are the ice climbers.
They are the ice climbers.
You're right. You're so right.
I do think, and maybe this is the extended cut coming through, the peekaboo with the cave troll went on like a minute longer than it should have. But again, I think that's a minute that was cut in the theater.
Probably. And then Frodo gets stabbed. Ding.
Yeah. Surprise.
And then we have our fight scene. They run out of the tomb. They continue through the mines and are chased by, again, thousands of goblins, and then are surrounded. And all of a sudden we hear a deep bellowing roar. That is the evil darkness from below the depths of the mines.
Which is still wild that like a thriving dwarven civilization was existing here.
Yeah. But
dropping a loud thing down the well is maybe what stirred up the Balrog to like spring to action.
Yeah, hard to say. But we find out what that is in the form of the Balrog, this big scary demon.
There is a bit, and the movie doesn't it's in the movie, but it isn't. It's pretty subtle. There is an ever-present thing of like the ring has a will of its own.
Yes.
Is putting off like a beacon of like, here's a big
bad vibes.
Here's a big magical thing, and also everyone around the ring gets bad vibes and like passive psychic damage all the time.
That's fair.
Yeah. You're right.
So like the Balrog isn't connected to it, but also could be explained of like, hey, the most powerful magical item is now in your cave.
Yeah. It's still,
you should check that out.
The Balrog is still a shark that smells blood in the water.
Yeah.
You know, he might not be an agent of Sauron. So we get another chase scene through crumbling mines, crumbling architecture, which like, I'm locked in. Sign me up anytime. And we get a heroic sacrifice from Gandalf. We get another bridge that crumbles, and Gandalf stops the Balrog, and the two of them plummet to their death, presumably.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Fly, you fools.
I know Gandalf comes back eventually. For me, it's
Kyle plays the commander card. We know. Yeah.
The thing that this scene really did well for me, and this kind of talks about the practical effects in the filming probably for the last time. When people talk about bad CGI in Marvel movies or just bad CGI in general, I think the thing that it comes back to a lot is that it's really hard to do scale well. When everything is CGI, you start to lose sense of what size should be or what size things should be very quickly. And the whole Mines of Moria scene does such a good job of establishing scale throughout, like up and through where you can tell like, okay, this bridge collapse where we're tossing hobbits across the gap situation, like that was filmed on probably a practical foam block that they then put a CGI background behind, but you can tell that they built the thing to be the size that it needs to be, and it just makes everything look real. And even in the moments where you're like, hey, that lava looks like ass, or like, what's up with the eyes on this cave troll? The scale is so good that it just works.
Well, and like
that's what I miss.
The cave troll scene is like, the cave troll is very obvious, like, here's the CGI cave troll. All the other orcs, everything else in that scene is practical. Right. And when like the cave troll picks them up, they're being wire lifted on the set. It doesn't suddenly switch to CGI Elijah Wood in CGI Troll's hands. It's real Elijah Wood with a CGI hand animated around him. And it just goes like, just that difference goes so far in making everything feel like in the scene.
Yeah.
Same with the Kraken. The Kraken is very, very much CGI, but like they flew all those actors in the air and then animated the CGI tentacles around them, not enter CGI characters wrapped in fake Kraken tentacles. Like they're there. It's real.
The other thing I noticed in this bit was the lighting in the movie in general throughout the movie, but I think is most apparent here compared to watching a film today. Like there's never a point at which in this movie that it's like dark, even when they're in the middle of the Mines of Moria, which is again, it's a dungeon-ass dungeon. This is before the era of Hollywood gray and Hollywood green, you know? And it's also notably before the era of shaky cam action sequences.
Yep.
And it was, again, refreshing just to see like a well-lit scene that I can see what's happening. And there's like never any, like there's no first person view. There's no POV cams. Like it's great.
If this were shot today, it would have been shot in normal lighting or that very like everything is lit lighting that everything is done today. And then they would have slapped a blue filter over it.
Yeah.
And this is very much shot of like, where are our light sources coming from? Let's show some of them on the screen and have that affect what things look like.
And it's cool that, and they did it so specifically with Gandalf's cantrip light.
This was probably the only, and I don't even want to use the word complaint, but when I was watching the movie, the one thing that I took a minute to tell Maddie that was kind of like throwing me off was, because I haven't seen this movie and because I've watched 25 years of pop culture movies afterwards, there are tropes in movies now that, like the color white being a good guy thing earlier, that like I see that when this movie was filmed weren't established. And there was one thing with the lighting that like I had a really hard time telling when things were real and when things were supposed to look like a dream sequence. And there were a bunch of times that I was like, are we doing a dream sequence right now? And knowing
the next
that
scene is exactly that. And I thought the same thing.
Knowing that like some of the Lothlorien stuff is actually a flashback in the theatrical cut, like it lends context to those issues. But that I think was the only thing, because I agreed, dude, the fucking lighting. But there were a few times that I was like, everybody's got this weird white glow.
Every elf is shiny.
Every elf,
I can't tell if we're dreaming.
Yeah,
and that is an elf. That's like supposed to be an elf thing. Like I had to explain that. When we got to Galadriel, is like
hair and stuff.
It is a thing that she is like supposed to be luminescent. Because she's so powerful and queen of the elves. Like that is intentional.
But it
supported by
I agree
text.
I agree with Matt's take. It definitely makes it feel like a dream.
Yeah.
So they get out of the mines safely, except for Gandalf, and then everyone quickly has a moment of silence for Gandalf's death, and then moves on. And immediately we're thrown into a new setting. We're back in the woods, and we're being taken hostage by these elves, and they are not Elrond's people, nor are they Legolas's people. This is a completely different faction of elves who don't seem to be aligned with our group, with our heroes, or with anybody. And we meet their leader, Galadriel, played by Cate Blanchett. And Galadriel is of questionable intentions, to say the least.
Yeah.
And it's not until and really like things kind of play out like pretty bland until Frodo gets a telepathic message from Galadriel saying, "I know why you're really here. The ring is evil, yada, yada, yada." So we see a next scene smash cut to Frodo and Galadriel talking. Galadriel shows
around
Frodo
the water cooler.
Around the water cooler, literally. She shows Frodo her magic mirror, which is a fountain, which is can show the past, present, and future. Frodo sees flashes of him and all of his friends being murdered, killed, slain, / put into enslaved by the Uruk-hai and the orcs. And again, just like, you have to do this thing. And for a second, thinks maybe I should give Galadriel the ring. And then she turns into a weird negative photo. And and then she says she passes her own test, which I haven't gotten this far in the book. So I'm sure that has a lot more meaning. So that's a scene. And then finally, we leave Lothlorien. Everyone's got new clothes, more food, some lemnis bread, and a bunch of boats. And
everyone gets some goodies on the way out.
Everybody gets some
get party favors.
Yep, they get gifts.
If I could eat one fantasy food, it would be lembas bread.
Yeah, like Merry and Pippin had 4.
Since I read the books, I was like, I want lembas bread.
Lemnis bread. One bite will satiate a man.
I did say lembas, like the Magic the Gathering card,
like the 3 mana add any or tap for food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So everybody gets boats, and we start going down the river Anduin, getting ever closer to Mordor. And the big climax of this movie, the end of this movie, happens just kind of like in the middle of nowhere on a beach.
Yeah, dude.
So basically, everything comes to a head because Sauron has his new his trench monsters, essentially, the Uruk-hai. They have assembled an army, and they've found the Fellowship, and they're attacking. So they're super
orcs. They're orcs on super soldier serum.
Well, aren't they like orc and goblin crosses?
They're orc and human crosses, I think, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So the Uruk-hai army is marching, and the team is taking a break on the riverbank, and Frodo goes... the other thing that I missed, Galadriel tells Frodo he will be betrayed by the Fellowship.
The Fellowship is already breaking.
That's the Fellowship is already breaking.
Exact wording,
and Frodo knows immediately it's Boromir. Everyone, Boromir is a good guy, but he's a bad liar.
Yeah.
And Boromir, in a moment of weakness, thinks he's doing Frodo a favor and freaks Frodo out, and then succumbs to the temptation of the ring. They have a little bit of a fight. Boromir is like, oh shit, what have I done? And then everybody gets attacked. And we fight back the Uruk-hai. Frodo decides to leave himself, and Merry and Pippin kind of, block his way out, basically, or distract the Uruk-hai to get him a clean escape. Merry and Pippin get kidnapped, and Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and Boromir fight back the Uruk-hai. Boromir dies in true Sean Bean fashion. And basically the movie ends kind of on a lower note, hopeful note, but kind of a dour note, where we have Frodo sailing off by himself toward Mordor without the rest of the Fellowship. Samwise Gamgee, baby, just running into the river,
almost drowning.
Mr. Frodo. Yeah, pretty much drowning.
Yeah,
and because he's so goddamn loyal. And then Merry and Pippin are kidnapped. Their whereabouts unknown. Boromir's dead, and then Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli all Predator handshake and say, "Well, let's go save Merry and Pippin."
Yeah, that was a detail I missed until this viewing.
Same.
I've always been vaguely aware. It's like, oh, okay, they're off like running defense for Sam and Frodo, but I never got I missed until this viewing the line of like, well, let's go save Merry and Pippin at least.
Yeah.
And that has a whole of that has the ulterior motive, so to speak, of if we look like we're trying to save these hobbits, they're going to think these are the hobbits that matter.
Yes.
So the hobbits that do matter can sneak in.
We can't be with Frodo. We are better to stay away from Frodo than try and escort him at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
which is interesting. Yeah.
And that has the added layer of no one can go with Frodo because the ring's power is going to create 8 more Boromirs if anyone else goes with him. Only Frodo and Sam can resist the temptation of the ring.
Do you want to go right into In Defense of Boromir? Because I think that's the point.
Yeah, let me. So when these movies were in the zeitgeist, when I was in middle school and high school, the like understood like thing of my friend group, at least, and I think a lot of people had this, was like, Boromir doesn't deserve like this hero's send off when he dies. Like,
he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy of the movie.
He betrayed. He betrayed Frodo, and my like, yes, he did. That's the whole point. Is like, he's there to show like the power, the temptation, the tempting power of the ring. Yada yada.
Boromir is the templated paladin.
Yes,
he is like
he's the fallen paladin.
He is the best good guy.
Yeah,
like he is the pinnacle. And that's like the thing is like, if the best good guy can still fall to the temptation of the ring, how do the rest of us stand a chance?
And then in the rest of the movie, like knowing that was coming in the rest of the movie, I had the realization, like, Boromir's the only one here who like has been fighting this war his whole life. Like he's not an elf. He's not immortal. He doesn't have a like super long lifespan like a dwarf. He's a man. He's gonna live to like 150 years old because it's Tolkien, so everyone's a little bit older still. But he's been defending Gondor his whole life. He has watched people die in this battle that like he was born into, and he gets handed a nuclear. He comes in contact with a nuclear bomb. And is like, hey, can't we use this nuclear bomb to try and win this war that like has literally consumed my whole life? I don't know anything outside of this war. And is told like, no, you idiot, we can't use a nuclear bomb. Why would you even suggest that?
Yeah.
And
but like it's never given a reason.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So there is that part of it. And then there is the like he failed the wisdom save to the most powerful magical item in this universe. Like, like he had one moment, and as soon as the influence of the ring leaves him, he is immediately like, what have I done?
Yeah, immediately.
Like, and then goes down taking like 20 orcs out with
lot
him,
of Uruk-hai
with three arrows in his chest.
in his platoon moment.
Yeah.
That is nuance that is absolutely lost on a 12-year-old for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Boromir absolutely like deserves the hero's send off that he gets,
1,000%.
and doesn't deserve the bad rap.
Yeah.
Justice
totally
for
agree.
Boromir.
Yeah. What else you guys got?
I had said I think the cave bit was the most D&D-ass moment, but I think that also watching this, I was like, okay, so the movie ends soon, but I remember there's a dramatic moment of how it ends, and it did kind of feel like they're like, oh shoot, we need big action piece to set off movie. Like we can't just have Merry and Pippin get kidnapped. Like there has to be a fight, there has to be stuff, and like so. To see that happen, I kind of I locked in on the movie again. I was like, oh yeah, action scene. That's right. It's been a minute. Okay, here we go. Like I think this is past because I don't think it was this fight when Legolas stabs an orc in the face with an arrow.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was another moment that I had a Leo DiCaprio like that's not a feasible way to kill a monster. But like
rule of cool.
If someone pulled out a singular arrow and just went,
there were so many times where when Legolas was on screen, I was like, Hawkeye could never.
Oh yeah, Hawkeye wishes.
Yeah.
So the other one I have here is like In Defense of Frodo and Sam, and this is might be like early for it, but also it starts here like at the end, especially where Sam is like I will drown or follow you to Mordor. And like, again, this came out in 2001. The society as a whole was not like handling close male relationships well. So the resounding like chatter to the point where it was like there was a monologue about it in Clerks 2. Was Frodo and Sam are gay. Like that was the resounding sentiment around it. And like part of that is, again, where we were as a society at the time. Part of it is like Frodo's a real blank slate. He's way more of a blank slate than he's a lot of other.
Frodo Baggins is a swinging bachelor. He is effectively like, as far as hobbits are concerned, he is like Ace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But seeing Sam be like, no, Mr. Frodo, I will drown in this river or go with you. That was another like Sam.
Oh,
you are too good for this world.
I'm gonna cry. That's gonna make me cry every time.
Yeah,
on the time. Like, of course,
we all deserve a friend as good as Sam, and that is impossible because Sam is the perfect friend.
Yeah, there's no one could ever.
Yeah,
Hawkeye could never.
Hawkeye
could never.
I have a couple full of books real quick because we got to wrap this up because we're past time. But so part of the whole like the passage of time in the Council of Elrond, obviously that's 50 pages of exposition that we get that at the beginning of the movie, et cetera, et cetera. But I think interestingly enough, like the Council of Elrond in the book does this thing where this is where it establishes the world, and not just the world, but the world since The Hobbit, right?
Yeah.
And one of the major points, the other stuff that's going on, and the other stuff that's going on for the dwarves is Gimli is at the Council of Elrond to ask for help. He's there to ask Elrond to help go to the Mines of Moria, because what has happened is in the dwarves, in this like span of time, the dwarves, so the Moria is like the ancient dwarf civilization that they were run out of because they dug and dug and they dug too deep. And the movie says this at one point, but it's glazed over. So they dug too deep and they found the Balrog. And that was where the dwarves had made their civilization on Mithril. And that's where you find Mithril, right? Well, that was thousands of years ago, like before The Hobbit, right? So after The Hobbit, a bunch of the dwarves from The Hobbit make a team led by Balin, who is one of the dwarves from The Hobbit, and they go to reclaim their old home in Moria. And years have passed, 10 years have passed at that point. And Gimli is coming to Elrond to say, hey, I need help. We have all of these dwarves have gone missing. We assume that they're in Moria, but we can't get to them.
Yeah.
We need help to get to them. That's why Gimli's like, we should go to Moria because we can free all my bros.
We can cross off another thing on my list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Problem being, and so the one thing I was like, okay, this has no. So when Gimli sees the Tomb of Balin, he goes nuts, and that has no payoff because you don't know when you're watching the movie that Gimli doesn't know that Balin is dead.
It's because it has no payoff because that is a payoff.
It's just another name
from the. It's a payoff from The Hobbit.
Yeah.
And the whole thing there is like Gimli. He thinks they're stranded in the cave.
Yeah.
Trapped in the cave.
Like we're gonna go help them. Yeah.
Like we haven't heard anything from them because if they could get a message out, they could get out. Kind of thing. There's no
they're dwarves. There's
no communication. There's no
they don't cell phones.
It is not uncommon to play like we lost touch with them, but they're probably fine. They just lost touch with them. So when he gets there and learns oh no, they all died. Horrible deaths.
Slow horrible deaths. Like in a Resident Evil journal entry style. They came in, they raided the place, they reclaimed it, and built a civilization. Like Balin started rebuilding the city, and then were slowly and surely overrun and all died and just starved to death. Bleak. And then, and I haven't finished the book yet. So, I'll come back. I'll tell you if anything important happens with the Galadriel stuff. I'm sure it's not that important.
It couldn't be.
It couldn't be. I think I think that's it.
I do love the section that you've set us to end on. I think that is very, very good.
This is a great way to end
Matt,
episodes.
What's going to happen next?
So I know the next one is called The Two Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And we have seen so far
I can only assume there's some kind of Lord of the Rings 9/11.
A second cave troll has hit the tower.
That was why they didn't film the movies back to back, because 9/11 happened and they were like, we have to change the plot.
We have to build our new towers.
Yeah.
It was like when they didn't reveal Tears of the Kingdom after the Queen died.
So to my count, we've seen one tower, right? And it's Saruman's tower.
This checks out.
I would bet that they're like, hey, it's a pretty big tower that Saruman has. Maybe we should build a bigger one. And then
really good.
Rules.
I think maybe they use that tower to bring Gandalf back.
Okay, interesting.
Towers full of power.
I know that Gandalf comes back eventually, and I don't know how we get there, but I know that he does. And
so you're envisioning the bigger tower is also some kind of like Frankenstein's lab, but magical. And like
it's a revivify spell.
Well, it's like a Dragon Ball situation, you know. You get the tower big enough, and we can bring Gandalf back, you know, because it's like the bigger the tower, the bigger the magic. I think that's.
I mean, it checks out. Yeah,
yeah. So I think that's a thing. My real answer is like, okay, Frodo and Sam are off to Mount Doom. They don't know where the fuck that is. So good luck, boys. And then the other guys are going to go save Merry and Pippin. And I bet that goes a lot worse than like Frodo and Sam are going to go through some shit. But I think Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas are going to see the worst horrors trying to save Merry and Pippin.
Capital T, capital H.
Matt, I will correct one thing. Mount Doom is a really visible landmark. They look at it at the end of this movie and go, there's Mount Doom. That's where we gotta go.
Okay. I'm glad that you corrected me, because it is, I suppose, a folly of language. But
there are a lot of problems. That's not one of them.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can third star to the left and straight on till morning, but like there's a lot between you and there, you know?
Sure.
The real answer,
the directions are as simple as like we gotta walk.
They still have to find a path to get
there.
But like
the other thing I originally had written here was, and maybe Sam and Frodo kiss. But like now that now that Kyle said all the good things he said, I took that part out. But it does kind of feel like Sam and Frodo are gonna kiss.
They might.
You're picking up on something that like.
Yeah, man.
It is there. It isn't not there.
Yeah,
maybe
and like,
Sam and Frodo do kiss, but also they're wholesome male friendship is a good thing to have in a movie.
It's one of those things like they probably kiss at one point. They just don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Happens off screen.
Much like I'm sure a lot of World War II soldiers kissed and then never
talk about it.
Never
famously
underreported.
Yeah. It's a stat that we'll never know.
Well, it's because nobody asked them. I think that at one point heard a stand-up comedian say Brokeback Mountain is just a Lord of the Rings fan fiction, and I feel like I get that joke now in a way that I didn't before.
That's kind of good.
I will add the thing that I'm looking forward to. This doesn't give anything away. The Battle of Helm's Deep. Kicks so much ass.
Helm's Deep is a D&D place, isn't it?
No, it's a
Helm.
It's a magic.
Helm is a thing.
Waterdeep.
It's a rare black land.
Yeah, that's that also.
Yeah.
So like that's another. Saruman sounds like a Digimon of Sauron, and I have to imagine that that's not accidental.
That naming convention is so confusing.
It's so bad.
That is where J.R.R. Tolkien made up his own language and made up these names first, and then wrote a story to tell them. To use these names in. That was also a very like hard sticking point with my wife of like, no, Saruman and Sauron are too similar in name. Why? Why did he do that? And I don't have a good answer for you, except he was a big nerd, and like to him, all the names have an entire dissertation on why they make sense.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are I think my big predictions. It's the second in the trilogy, so it's the one that I can infer the least about just on story structure. But if it hasn't been obvious already, I couldn't even tell you the number of times that I said, oh, this is where this comes from, or this is where that comes from. So I know that like all the story beats, I'll be like, oh, that's this. Oh, and this. So
is there a ton of that in the second one? I feel like the first one is really big on like, oh shit, that thing. And I think the third has some of that, but I don't know.
All I can remember is Grand.
Yeah. There's I think you're going to have less like lean forward, snap and point at the TV.
Yeah. I think
the second one.
This is certainly the one.
It is the Matrix Reloaded of the trilogy, not in a bad way, but in an action way, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. It's a defiantly different movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Matt, I wanna finish your thing. I wanna tack another thing onto the end of what does Matt think will happen next?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I'm excited. I'm legitimately a little bit like, oh man, I gotta wait a month to put the next one of these down because we're at the point of the year where like, fuck it, man, I'll spend the next 72 hours watching movies. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So the thing I want to tack on, Matt, goes off of the like your realizations of like, that's where this is from. What do you have one that stands out to you as a like wait, that's Lord of the and I'm not talking necessarily a meme, just like any connection to anything that you clocked as like, wait, that's Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
And I know this is like off the cuff and you'll be more prepared for the next two times, but like,
yeah,
but I want to get a feel for that. If you have any of just like Todd's this is just D&D moment of like, like anything like that at all.
There were a couple, one of the big ones was like, so the very first D&D class I played was for the podcast. It was Forbergorf, which was a ranger. And I did have a moment of like, oh, this is where rangers come from. Like this is why rangers are rangers.
That was mine too.
So
there's so many D&D templates here, which is cool.
Yeah. The big one from this movie definitively is the music and like the specific the Lord of the Rings theme, not the beginning theme, but like the musical theme. Is something that I have heard a bajillion other times, a bajillion other places, and never knew that like, oh, that's the Lord of the Rings melody. So I think that was probably the biggest one. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
Because that the like has been riffed and flipped in everything a million times. And so that exact melody was the thing that I was like, oh my God, that's where this comes from. And then, I mean, cool. I think the rest was kind of just like D&D shit, you know, like, like elves are shiny and weird and like they don't like dwarves. And it was just all the stuff that was like, I've heard described as Tolkien fantasy and never had in practicality.
Well, we'll close her out there. So that's going to do it for our very first episode of Fellowship This, aka One Does Not Simply Record a Lord of the Rings podcast, there and pod again. Join us next month for when we talk about the Two Towers. Hope you come back. I personally can't wait. And my name is Andrew, and I give the Fellowship of the Ring 93 out of 100 spoons recovered from bag end.
I'm Todd, and I give it 8 out of 9 surviving Fellowship members.
I'm Matt, and I give it 4 of 4 consumed lembas breads.
And I'm Kyle, and I give it 9 out of 9 rings for mortal men doomed to die.
Hell yeah. That's it. Bye.
Bye.